It's quite vulnerable as a story for me to share with you. It's not very often that you probably hear someone talk about how they were a cheater and then sharing that in front of a bunch of strangers. But I have told the story a few times now, and I own it. I own my truth. And this was something that I'd like to encourage every single one of you to do, is to learn how to own your story. And that's why thank you, Zaid, for allowing me to share this. I think it's important. Our truth is ours, but when we are able to express our truth, it will no longer hold us back. And hopefully we can empower other people, and hopefully I can inspire and empower some of you guys to express your truth too. So, the only way I can tell you about why I am the way that I am is by telling you who I was way back when. So, my dad is Pakistani, my mum is Indian, and I grew up in London. I grew up to a very strong alpha male Pakistani dad. He is, as you would imagine any Pakistani alpha male dad to be. He was all about being strong, being tough, being confident, and he was all of those things. He was the kind of man that would be able to talk to anyone, and he was that uber confident guy that also he was tough and he could fight and he was strong. And I was the complete opposite. Okay, I was a chubby little kid that was bullied throughout all of his, his toddler years all the way into his teenage years, bullied by everyone that just felt that they could get the better of me and to make me feel like I was super small and would never fight back anyway. The thing is about me is I was smart, so I was good at school, and I was always encouraged to be the smart kid at school. Never really encouraged to be the sporty one or anything like that, and I hated it anyway, okay? But what happened throughout those years were my dad being the way that he was, plus he was the businessman, which meant that he was around more, and mum was the one that would be out there earning the money. So she had the typical 9-to-5 job, but what it meant was I didn't see much of mum. I was passed around from like nanny to nanny. So back in the UK, we'd go to the nanny's house. Nanny wouldn't come to us. In Dubai, nanny lives with us, okay? But in London, I had to go to the nanny's house. So I grew up with a bunch of strange kids, with sorry to say this, but a white woman that didn't care about me, okay? I was just another kid in the house. I didn't really understand what that impact might be growing up, but what did happen was I grew up to be a child that was very insecure, very shy, and scared. I was scared of life all the time. You can imagine what this does now to going in from the 5-year-old kid to now going into his teenage years. Growing up again, I wasn't incredibly, again, like I said, I was chubby, right? So I wasn't loved by, ladies. I was more the friend of girls that even if I find them attractive, they did not find me attractive. Going into my 16, 17, 18-year-old, I was the friend. Okay, I was the best friend. I was the cuddly one. They would give me hugs. I was like, great, I don't want hugs, I want kisses. But I didn't get the kisses. My best friend was this tall, beautiful black guy, 6-pack. He was good at everything. So I'm living in his shadow of this man. Wherever we go out, ladies love him. My brother, tall, green eyes, gorgeous. And I was there like, yeah, okay, fine. I'm just going to stand on the corner and I'm just be two-stepping by myself. But as a result, I became very empathetic. I was good at conversations. I was good at talking to people. I didn't use, I guess like my brother would, his looks or my looks to get what I wanted throughout life. But I was very, very insecure, incredibly insecure. Until one day, I remember there was one girl that I liked at university who, she did like me back, and it was quite nice that I had someone that would find me attractive. But in the end, what happened was she ended up getting back with her boyfriend. And the reason why, she said to me so bluntly, because she didn't mean it in any kind of bad way, because he had biceps and a 6-pack and a little bit of history that they had together. I'm sitting there like, how can she say this to me? I'm sitting here with this 19-year-old chubby guy with this girl that I like telling me that she'd rather be with this other guy because he has biceps and a 6-pack. So what did I do? I joined the gym the next day. So I joined the gym, and I'm so grateful for this woman because it kick-started this whole new life for me where I took care of my health and my body. I also decided to shave my head because my dad was bald, and he said, why don't you shave your head? Bald is in fashion. So I did, and now I'm bald. So there you go figure. But what happened is that my look changed. I actually did start to attract attention, and let me tell you, I had a good time with it. I made up for all those years where I didn't get attention, and I dated a lot. I got into relationships, I had a really, really good time, but I didn't really have the, what can I say, the ethical, moral part of being in relationships. And the reason why, I just wanted love from every direction, every bit of affection. So even when I was in relationships, because I love love, like I love being in relationships, but I loved attention from everywhere else. And so when I would cheat and talk to other girls or anything like that, it wasn't that I wanted anything sexual. It was that I just loved attention. And so I still might be doing micro-cheating, where I'm texting someone, or I'm flirting with someone, or I'm dancing with someone in the club, whatever it might be. I just wanted love from all the different areas. I also didn't really talk much about myself to anyone. I didn't share my emotions, my thoughts, and my feelings. Going back to my alpha male dad, he did not encourage me to express myself. He encouraged me to be strong and stoic and to keep all of my emotions pushed down. So what I did do is I just put all my emotions in my muscles instead of speaking about them. But also what happened was that whenever I would go through something and I would be challenged, I would explode in anger. And the people that really took that anger from me was my mom and my sister. I lived at home with them. There was a very challenging time that happened to me when I was 17 years old as my dad and my mom separated. When my dad left, he said to me, "You're the man of the house now." I was like, "Man of the house? Okay, that sounds fun." There, nothing changed. Okay, I'm a 17-year-old, I can't fix the plumbing, I can't build anything, I couldn't pay my way, so what kind of man of the house am I anyway? But it still felt like this burden, this pressure. At the same time, while all of this happened and my dad had left, he was still in the picture, but he wasn't around. My mum became an alcoholic. Terrible, terrible time. She was functioning, but she just couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle that my dad had left. 20 years of being in the relationship with this man, and now he's gone. Everything she knew. She even left her family to be with my dad. So the same year I went to university. I was in London, went to university there, but my sister and my mum were fighting every day. So what I do, I come home. I said, "Mum, I'll come home, I'll get a job." She said, "No, just come home and go to a university close to home." So I did. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't enjoy it. All of my friends were out partying, living out, having the best time, and I'm living at home as a 19-year-old, 18-year-old, and from the age of 19 to 31, I lived at home with my mum. Now, in our culture, it is quite normal for brown kids to live at home with their parents for a very, very long age. But I wasn't brown, okay? I grew up in London. I'm pretty much white. That's how I felt like I was, okay? I didn't feel any kind of connection to my culture at all. As far as I'm concerned, I'm an English kid that happens to have brown skin. So you can imagine already the identity crisis that I felt, okay? Now, what I didn't realize was I'm now this kid that doesn't talk about his emotions, okay? I'm very, very angry. My sister is legal trained, so whenever we have an argument, she gets me every single time. I cannot argue with my sister, okay? So that was that pissed me off every single time. But that's why I used to get so angry, because I couldn't articulate my thoughts, my feelings, or my emotions, so I would explode. So I'm doing this, I'm cheating, okay? And I'm spending money that isn't mine. All of these things, why am I doing it? To feel more like a man. I'm living at home with this 30-year-old guy. I can't bring girls home. I can't really tell them the truth as to why I'm living at home, because I'm quite embarrassed by that. And one day, what happens is I fall in love with this beautiful Iranian yoga teacher. She is absolutely gorgeous. Now, I don't know if you've ever met an angel. This woman, when I tell you angel, drop from the sky, boom. This woman was incredible. Even this woman, I cheated on her, and she found out. And I still remember to this day, the day that she found out. I heard heartbreak. I don't know if you've ever heard of heartbreak, but it's the most painful thing. Now, I tried to repair this relationship, but it was challenging. Not only did I break this woman's heart in trying to repair this relationship, issues at home with my mum were getting worse. So much so that I took all the alcohol at the house, except the 3 really expensive bottles of wine I kept for myself, but everything else was gone. One day I come home from a walk with my sister, and my mum is drunk. I'm thinking, fuck, how did this happen? How was she drunk? We just took all the alcohol at the house. So we ended up having a confrontation with my mum. I ended up recording my mum being ridiculously drunk because no one in my family believed me when I would tell them what she was like. Now, my mum is a good woman, okay? She is fantastic. She did her best. But it was painful. It was so hard that there was no support. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to record my mum, and I sent the video to her brother. Now, mostly, some of you guys might understand, whatever happens at home stays at home. We don't tell no one. I didn't give a shit. At that point, I was done. I don't want to deal with this stuff anymore. I need support. When my uncle saw the video, he was devastated, distraught. He couldn't believe it. My mom, obviously, super embarrassed. A few days had passed. I get a text message from my mom and to the group chat. She said, "I want you to leave." I could not believe it. My mom asked me to leave, and my sister. My sister was 6 years younger than me, so she's 25, I was 31. And I'm also ashamed to say that I felt relief. I felt relief. I was like, okay, I get to leave? I was living at home all of these years because I thought she might commit suicide. That's why I stayed home. I felt that she couldn't be trusted to be at home. So when I left, and my sister was incredibly upset with me, So now I've got a girlfriend that doesn't like me right now. She's unhappy. My mom is disappointed at me, and my sister is also angry at me. The three closest women in my life are pissed at me. So I could say at that point I hit rock bottom. It was my lowest point in my life. And I realized that I did not enjoy the man that I was becoming, or the man that I was. I couldn't hold down my emotions. I was cheating left, right, and center. But the women that are close to me in my life, my mom and my sister, they didn't enjoy me at all, and they didn't like who I had become. So I call my boss and I say, I need to leave. Yeah, what do you mean you need to leave? I say, I need to go to a retreat. So I booked a retreat to Morocco, a place called Tagazout. And I booked this retreat. It was yoga and surfing. And I booked this retreat. It was like a vegan thing, a bunch of old white people. I went on this retreat because I knew that I wouldn't find anyone attractive. I wouldn't do anything silly. I would just go there just to be with myself. My boss said, go on, Caleb, go. I didn't speak to my girlfriend. I didn't speak to my mom. I spoke to no one. But while I was at this retreat, and I had all these people that I could talk to, I met a Reiki healer. Now, back then, 31 years old, I had no idea what Reiki was. But I was so lost and so broken and so vulnerable. And I had such a deep desire to just fix who I was as a man, just do something different. I said, fine, whatever you need to do, let's just have a session. So what was supposed to be a 1-hour session became a 3-hour session. We did everything from like sound healing, we picked some tarot cards, where I held some crystals. But the most important thing that happened that evening was she asked me to move her to a part of the room that represented my mum. I was ignorant. I almost wanted to laugh at what the hell this was. I later find out this is called a family constellation. So I moved this woman to a part of the room that represented my mum. Just felt whatever I felt, I just put her there. She then she then proceeds to fall to the floor and start crying. That moment, I'm thinking, what have I done? I didn't do anything. I just moved her like I didn't do anything. She starts crying, and then she says to me, I want you to talk to me as if I'm your mum. I said, okay, let's see what happens. But what started to come out of my mouth were things that I had never said before. Things like, I resent you. I hate you. I resent that I lived at home all these years and didn't get to live my own life. I hate that I didn't get to just experience whoever I wanted to be, that you didn't pick yourself up, you didn't get help, you didn't get therapy. Like, why didn't you sort yourself out? Why didn't you look after me and my sister? Why didn't you give us the love that we needed, all of these years? As I was saying these things, I felt so guilty. I felt so ashamed to say these things out loud, but I also felt so relieved to say it out loud. And then she said to me, you being at home all of these years, this was you giving love to your mum, or to me. She was speaking in first person. You gave me love that I don't need. It was fantastic. I love you, I care about you. But actually, you need to take that love back for yourself. And I was like, okay. In that moment, I also realized that a lot of the love I was looking for in all of these women was just the love from my mum. That's what I really wanted. It was just my mum's affection. And I was seeking it in all the wrong places. Maybe the right places, I don't know, but definitely the wrong places. And so she gave me this sound bowl. And she goes, this sound bowl represents all the love you gave me that you can take back for yourself. And I said, okay. I'm crying now. Like, all these tears are coming out of me. I'm crying. I said, Mom, I can't take the sound bowl back. Like, I can't. Like, you need this. She goes, no, I'll be fine. She said, the parental energy needs to flow downwards. Ancestral energy flows down. You don't need to parent the parent, as they say. So I take back this sound bowl. And when I take the sound bowl back, I know it sounds weird, but I just felt this lightness, this lift from my shoulders. I just felt lighter. I felt this weight lift from me. And it was in this moment where I realized a few things. One, I realized that I'm never going to cheat again, because now I understand where this comes from, and it's my work, it's my journey to understand how to heal this. But I'm done. It was just a decision. The second thing I realized was, I have kept so much of my emotions to myself throughout all of these years and never expressed anything, and it was time for this to be done. Imagine how many men are out there not expressing their truth. I was lucky. I was lucky that I wasn't like suicidal or super depressed. I definitely had periods of sadness, but I wasn't that bad. And I wonder how many men, because of how we're taught, because of our parents, because of what our dads are like, that we're not sharing our truth, that we're not speaking up. Any emotion that's kept inside is going to come out in some way. What happened to me, I either implode, I'm just the worst person to myself, or I explode and I take it out on people that I love. And inside I was scared, to be honest. I was very scared. I wouldn't explode with people in the street, although sometimes I did look for a fight. If I was out in London and wanted to, if I had a few drinks, and maybe I looked for a fight. I realized I couldn't even talk to my friends. If I wanted to bring up a topic with my friendship circles, they would just tell me to shut up and have a beer. They wouldn't really want to talk to me, unless I got them one-on-one. But I noticed from that, I need to change something, and it has to start with me. The next thing I realized was that my mum did her best, and it was no longer for me to judge my mum, to be angry at her, to resent her. It was to actually let that go, and just to realize that, if she could have done better, she would have done better. And that actually freed me from a lot of uncomfortable conversations with my mum and my dad. They did their best. And then I thought, I need to leave. I need to start something where I can get men to talk, because that's all we need. We need someone to talk to. So I left Morocco. I broke up with my girlfriend because I knew I couldn't handle that situation. I didn't talk to mum for 6 months. I started working with a therapist. I worked with a masculinity coach, and I joined a men's circle. The men's circle was a place where every Wednesday we would just talk, and the men's coach would just ask us questions and prod us and make us go deeper. And it was so confronting. I was so challenged, but it was so good because I learned so much about myself where I was not free. All of the triggers that I had in my life are just moments where I'm not free, and were moments where I had to figure out myself so I could liberate myself and be whole and happy and healthy in my masculinity. And the reason why I work with a masculinity coach is because the phrase toxic masculinity is thrown around so much. I was toxic. I was the toxic one. But from the outside, I was the nice guy. Everyone thought I was nice. If anyone asked you about me, they would tell you, Adil's a nice guy. He's really cool. Behind closed doors, I'm the worst. I'm the worst. I was not a nice person. And I see it every day. So I vowed to become a better man. I worked with my men's coach, and I became a men's coach. So I now work with men on being a masculinity coach. And it's not this shit you see on TV or on Instagram about, being the alpha. No, it's about really understanding who you are. Learning how to articulate your emotions, speaking your truth, looking at your shadows, just being able to understand your emotions. And if someone triggers you, know how to have a conversation about it. Own your shit. That's what I believe that men need to learn how to do. Own your shit. I then decided to build something called, at the time it was called Not Just a Man. And the whole thing is about, hey, we're not just men. There's more to us. Let's sit and let's talk in circles, let's understand each other. Just like how they used to do back in the day. Men would sit in circles and talk, from the young ones to the elders. And now, 4 years in the UAE, I've been running a men's group called Brotherhood UAE. And that's literally where we have, every week, we have a ManCave where the men sit in circles, bare their soul, they create friendships in the process, they understand more about who they are, why they do what they do, and learn how to become better guys. And so I'm so proud to say that 4 years later, we were 100 plus men in the community. Many of the men are here in the audience. And I believe that's the future. And as a result, men, women, children, dogs, cats, we all get to benefit from better men in society. And what my call to men and to the ladies in the audience is, challenge the guys in your community, the men in your community, to reach out and find male friendships and men that will hold you accountable and not be afraid to challenge you when you're not being your best self. I did have boys telling me, hey, why are you cheating? What are you doing? You got a good woman. But I just couldn't see it. I couldn't see it at the time. But it's our responsibility to do something, all of us together. It's not saying, hey, you got to be more of a man. No, it's actually, we have to pull each other and elevate each other to become better. It's not just one person's responsibility. It's all of our responsibilities to do that. So tell your friends about Brotherhood UAE, soon to be called the ManCave project. Interesting that we are in cave, actually, as a result. But I guess the reason why I'm telling you this story is because behind every pain, there's a purpose. And I actually now live my purpose. This is my full-time job. I run this men's group. I'm a coach. And the whole thing is just, how can we just become better, as a collective, as individuals? So I want to thank you for listening to my story, for holding space. And thank you, Zaid and Nite, for having me.